Um, I've had the same recurring realization for years. It haunts me. I had it most recently this past weekend, which is that I'm never going to win an Academy Award. The truth is, I'm not even going to get nominated, which isn't surprising, considering I've never had anything to do with the film industry. And yet, in some parallel universe, I win, and I run up on stage, and I grab my Oscar, and I thank my parents for supporting me and supporting my creativity from day one, and I give a shout out to the cast and crew. You guys are the best! And I dedicate my Oscar to a person or a group of people who have beaten the odds, who have overcome obstacles, and have persevered. No doubt the same person or group of people that were the focus of the film that was never made, and I never a part of. So I'm never going to win an Academy Award, but in 1979, I did win the Niskayuna Girls Recreational Middle School Foul Shooting Contest first place. I had forgotten all about my 15 minutes of fame until recently when my parents came to visit and with them brought a carton of my stuff from my childhood bedroom, including that trophy, which, by the way, is about the same height as an Oscar, just not quite as heavy. And I took it out of the box and I looked at it, and as I did for the first time in decades, the details of the event all came back to me. It was a snowy Saturday in January, and about 20 8th grade girls filed into the middle school gym where we were put in various groupings for foul shooting basketball competition in the morning, the outcome of which set up the bracket competition for the afternoon. I was in that bracket competition, the first round being the quarterfinals, where I beat Lori Rizzo. And the way it worked at this point is we each had 1 minute, one after the other, to try and make as many foul shots as we could in 1 minute. Anyway, I beat Lori Rizzo, and so then I went on to the semis, which is also known as the Final Four. And there, I beat Margaret O'Brien. So now I'm in the finals, and this is astonishing because I was a good athlete, but not a great athlete. And my opponent was Sharon Stevens, who was two things. One, the quietest girl in the 8th grade, and second, the most incredible athlete in the 8th grade. I was really the underdog. Well, a coin toss determined I would go first, and my minute began. And it went by really quickly. I'm not sure how many baskets I made, 17. And then Sharon stepped up to the foul line, and she was going to go. And I just want to kind of pause here for a minute and let you all know that I was never the kind of kid who wished ill will on anyone. Even then, I was the middle child, peacemaking, people pleaser, one day to become therapist person that I am now. But in that moment, all I could do was stare her down, give her the evil eye, and under my breath say, "Miss, miss," every time she released the basketball. And she did, miss enough that my 17 won me that competition. Well, this little journey down memory lane tripped up that question, I wonder where they are now. So I'm thinking about these competitors, and I'm in my living room, and my carton of stuff is sitting in front of me, and my trophy is sitting next to me, and my teenage daughter with her face in her phone is sitting across from me, and I open up my laptop, and I find Lori Rizzo like that because she's actually a sports writer for a major network. Then I look for Margaret O'Brien, and I find her pretty quickly, too, and she actually does youth work out in the Bay Area. And now I'm going to look for Sharon Stevens. And, I'm trying all the usual, Google, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, nothing. And I'm about to let it go. And then in a last-ditch effort, I decide to put in her name, the name of our high school, and the year that we graduated in the Google search bar, and I hit enter. And one thing comes up, and only one thing comes up, and it shifts the energy in the room. It's palpable, and my teenage daughter, still with her face in her phone, feels it and says, "What, Mom? What is it?" And I said to my daughter, oh, I just read that Sharon Stevens, the person who I beat to win my trophy, in 2014, she ended her own life. And my teenage daughter, dark humor, dry delivery, barely lifts her eyes off her phone and says, well, Mom, she probably never got over that loss. I'm never going to win an Academy Award. But I have that plastic piece of crap trophy that is now permanently housed on our fireplace mantle. And I have people to thank. And I want to start with my parents, who were kind enough to put that basketball net in on the top of the driveway when I was a kid, right? And I want to give a shout out to all the kids in the neighborhood who shot hoops with me every day for months and years after school. And I do want to dedicate my trophy to Sharon Stevens, who couldn't beat the odds, who could not overcome her obstacles, and whose demons got the best of her. Thank you.